Kato here, and today we are playing cards. I think I just came up with a name for the channel. It was going to be Cards with Kato, but that's kind of like, I don't know, it's not very cool. And I was thinking, what about PokerBEAST? Not saying that I'm a poker beast. I'm playing like the lowest stakes live poker you can with a teeny little buy-in, but it's what we all want to be. We all want to be poker beasts. We all want to ascend to the level of high stakes poker and make millions of dollars playing. So I think as of now, this channel is officially going to be called PokerBEAST. On that note, let's get inside. Let's play some poker. I'm coming off of a 2-day streak. We're building up that snowball, and we're going to try to just build it some more. Play smart, play safe, play strong, play like a poker beast. So let's get in there without any further ado and hit the felt.
Welcome back to the vlog. We're doing our standard $150 buy-in today, but before we get started, I'm just going to tell you that I am going to be frequently uploading great poker content, exciting content, fun content. So if you can repay the favor with a subscription, hit that notification bell so you can know when I drop a video right away. I would really appreciate it. The first hand we get is Queen Jack of Spades on the button. With 3 limpers ahead of me, I bet $12. I'm definitely raising Queen Jack of Spades. It's most likely the best hand here. I have 3 limpers ahead of me. I have the ultimate position. This hand is mine to win as long as I connect well with the flop. If not, four-handed, I'm more than happy to get out of there. But we're going to see what the flop brings as all 3 players make the call. We're going to the flop with $49 in the pot. I look back at my cards. For some reason, my feeble brain always forgets what I have, and so I have to check constantly throughout the hand. It's kind of annoying, and I'm trying to fix it. The flop comes out great for us. 4 of spades, 2 of spades, 8 of hearts. We have the third nut flush draw with 2 overcards, and we have a backdoor straight draw possibility. The under the gun limper decides to open here for $8. That's about a 1/6 pot bet, which is absolutely ridiculous. Maybe he's betting $8 because he has a pair of 8s. That happens sometimes at these stakes for whatever reason. But my hand and my position is superior. I want to take back control of the pot. And also, I think the solver probably raises here most of the time. I'm not sure. I don't have one up in front of me. But I think on a larger bet by the original flop raiser, I could probably make a call. But with such a low bet, I think I should be getting money in this pot and taking back control, taking the initiative, and pot building for when I hit my flush or potentially my queen or jack. The under the gun original raiser folds and the cutoff makes the call. We're going to the turn, which is a 6 of diamonds. This is a complete blank for me. When the cutoff checks, I decide to take my chances and get as much fold equity as I can while risking it all on my 15 outs. I do have a lot of chances to win, even if he has a set that he's slow playing. Chances are he doesn't, and that he has a weak holding that he's willing to lay down. He hasn't showed any aggression this hand. So he's either slow playing me or he has something he wants me to check down with him. That's not going to happen. I've gone all in. He thinks about it for a little bit and he does make the fold. He tells me he has 2 pair, which I absolutely don't believe. 2 pair is never folding on this board. 4-6, 8-6, 2-4. Those are all hands that if you're calling $12 pre-flop, you're definitely going to be ripping it in when you get your 2 pair, especially with my short stack. We do another fold monologue, and I think I'm just going to start skipping that part of the vlog, and we're just going to go over important hands like this ace of clubs, 10 of spades that I looked down on the button. This is a fun one. There's 2 limpers ahead of me, and I make it $13 on the button. Ace 10 offsuit is definitely a hand that's worthy of raising, especially if you feel like your table is not going to take advantage of the 3-bet, which this one certainly isn't. Traditionally, ace-x holdings have always been difficult for me to play, even ace-king. I tend to overvalue or undervalue my ace. I'm not sure when someone has 2 pair against me, and I'm not quite sure when to value bet and when to fold. But in this case, it's a clear raise. I likely have the best hand. I definitely have the best position. I want to get inferior hands money into the pot, and the 2 limpers do make the call. We're going to the flop with $42 in the pot, and the board comes out 10 of clubs, 3 of spades, 2 of diamonds. We have top pair, top kicker on a very uncoordinated board. We likely have the best hand by far, and it's going to be hard for other players to improve. For some reason, the original limp caller raises to $20. This bet doesn't make sense to me because on this board, I believe that I would be checking 100% of my range as the under the gun caller. But regardless, I make the call. We go to the turn, which is the 9 of spades. This isn't necessarily the best card as it brings in backdoor spades and 10-9 gets there offsuit and suited. She goes ahead and makes the check, which is very confusing. She took the initiative on the flop. She's slowing down on the turn. Is she looking to check raise me? Does she just have nothing? Was she taking a stab? I size up to about 1/3 of the pot, $35. I want to keep all of her weaker holdings in. It's kind of making sense to me that maybe she had a pair between 10s and 3s. And if she has a better hand than me, I'm definitely going to be getting check raise on this turn. And so I can easily lay down the hand if she decides to go that route. But regardless, we are betting for value against 10s, 3s, 2s, 9s. We want that $35 in the pot. It's not a big bet for her to call, seeing as the pot will be $150 once she makes the $35 call. She slowly counts out her chips. She thinks for a long time. I'm not sure if she's thinking about folding or raising me, but I'm starting to feel pretty good about my hand. Actually, I take that back. I felt good about my hand this whole way. She does elect to make the call. Now there's $152 in the pot. I have position. I have what I think is the best hand, and the river comes out. The 7 of clubs, which is for all intents and purposes a complete blank. And this is why I don't think you should be leading out on the flop. It takes away a lot of those hands that you could have potentially on the river that no longer make sense. Like Jack 8 would never bet on the flop. 8-6 would never bet on the flop. And every potential draw that you could have on the flop has missed. Also, if you're going to lead out on the flop and not check raise me on the turn, it definitely shows me that she's slowing down and her hand hasn't improved since the flop. This is why it's absolutely important to remember the actions on every street so you can go back during the hand very quickly and think about what makes sense. What doesn't make sense to me is that she leads out for another donk bet of $95. This is a very large bet, and it's polarizing her hand very much so. At this point, I know she doesn't have an overpair because she would have re-raised me pre-flop and probably continued to bet on the turn. She could have a set of any of the cards on the board, but it's definitely not likely in my opinion because she would have been more aggressive on the turn, I believe. The only hands that make sense other than that are like 10-9, 10-7 suited maybe. 9-7 makes no sense because she opened on the flop. I make the call and she immediately says, nice hand. Thinking I'm good, I flip over my top pair, top kicker, and she immediately mugs, telling me that she had 4-5, that she turned into a bluff. This is a fantastic pot to win. It's basically free money, and it's being shipped my way. Our chip stack is up to about $430 or plus 2 buy-ins, and we look down at Queen Jack of Hearts in middle position. The under the gun plus 1 raises up to $15. He's a tight player. He probably has something good. If I was a little farther, closer to the button, I could definitely throw in a 3-bet here, but we're just going to make the call and connect with the board, hopefully. The player to my left makes the call, the player in seat 1 makes the call, and the 2 blinds fold. We're headed to the flop with $64 in the pot. I have bad relative position, and unless I connect well with 3 other players in the pot, I'm going to let this one go. There is $64 in the pot, though, and it's definitely worth fighting for, but I'm not going to get carried away. No, I'm definitely not going to get carried away when the flop comes out 2 of diamonds, 8 of diamonds, 2 of hearts. I do have backdoor hearts, but with the paired board and 2 players to act behind me, it really makes it tricky. It makes complete sense to fold here, but when I smell weakness, I go for it. That's exactly what happens. I don't think that this board hit his range at all. He might have a big overpair, and if he does, I'm going to find out the hard way, but I raise it up to $75. This is bad play for a few different reasons. First of all, there's 2 players to act behind me. Who knows what they have? Second of all, the original raiser and the continuation bet player is very tight, and he could easily have an overpair that has me dominated, basically drawing dead to hearts. This is a situation where it would have been better just to let the hand go. This is not my pot, but for some reason, when I sense blood in the water, I go for it. I have a rule that is very important to me, which is don't put money in the pot unless you have something, and I'm clearly violating this rule. It gets even worse when the player behind me makes the call, and then the original raiser goes all in. It seems like everyone has a hand but me. I'm just here to put money in the pot to build it for someone else, and so even though it's only $60 a call, I'm probably at this point even drawing dead. I mean, I have absolutely nothing. So there's only one choice for me to do, and that is fold and live to fight another day. And once again, this is a golden rule that I have learned. Don't put money in the pot unless you have a hand. It seems simple, but nothing's ever simple when you're sitting at a poker table, and you want that pot. I'm told that one player has aces and the other player has tens. The odds that I get 2 running hearts are basically 0. There's just no way that it's ever gonna, oh my God. I guess I would have hit the run out, but that would have been outcome independent, and we don't like that. I look down at my next hand, ace of hearts, king of diamonds, ace king offsuit. I open up to $15 on this straddled pot, bringing the pot to $25. The player immediately to my left makes the call, $40 already in the pot. The players in late position both make the fold, and then we're down to the small blind who thinks about it for a bit and makes the call. People often will overcall with bad hands on a straddled pot, and then we are back to the original straddler who thinks about it. He decides to make the call, and we're going 5 ways to the flop, $75 in the pot. This is how quickly pots can build when there's multi-way. The problem is that you have to really be able to hit your cards and hit them well, because there's so many potential out there to have so many different hands, and we get a run out that we're not looking forward to. 5 of hearts, 7 of spades, 7 of hearts. There could be snakes in the grass. I decided to just check around and see what happens. I'm willing to make a call because I am playing my ace king kind of like a pair. I have 2 overs and I'm probably good now unless someone has spiked to 7. Who knows if someone's slow playing it, but we all check to the turn, and the turn is the 5 of clubs. This is not necessarily a bad card for me because I win with an ace high, but there could easily be someone that has a 5 or 7. There's 5 people in this pot, and this could definitely be hitting someone's range. I'm definitely making the call, but when the player to my left thinks about it for a little while, he decides to size up and put in a big bet. Now, it could be a bluff, but with 5 players in the pot, it would be very hard to make this bluff. There's not enough information to be gathered by any of these players since the checked around on the flop, and so this is either a really ballsy move trying to steal the pot in a 5-way pot, which I don't recommend, or he has it. The big blind thinks about it and makes a fold, and I don't have enough here to continue. I do have the ace high, which the best I could be playing for is a chop unless he's completely bluffing, but it would be quite the bluff with 5 people in the pot. He does end up showing me the 7. He was just lying low, waiting to strike. And we're sitting at about $300, which is totally cool. We're about to wrap up the session. We look down at a few other junk hands, and then we're finally dealt king, queen of diamonds, king, diamonds, queen, diamonds, middle position, $4 in the pot. The under the gun limps in, and so it's up to me. I'm definitely going to put in a small raise. I don't want to get too wild since it's towards the end of the session, but there's no way I'm limping with this strong of a hand. We get folds all around until it makes it back to the small blind, who thinks about it, takes another look at his cards, and decides to make the call. The big blind folds away, and then the under the gun limper decides to also make the call. We're going to the flop with $42 in the pot. I take another look at my hand. Yep, it's still the same king of diamonds, queen of diamonds. You got to work on that, Cato. So we're going 3 ways to the flop. I have position, although I'm just middle position. I'm playing against the small blind and the under the gun player. The flop comes 10 of hearts, 2 of diamonds, 9 of diamonds. I flop a gut shot straight draw. I have 2 overs, and I have a second nut flush draw. This is definitely a hand that I want to get a little aggressive with. When the under the gun player who limped and then called my raise leads out for $20, I'm thinking about what I should do with this donk bet, and I decide my hand is too strong to just make the call. I want to get some money in the pot. I don't want to start firing once I make my flush that looks pretty suspicious, and so I decide to size up to $60, put it in the middle of the pot, and see where the players are at. The small blind quickly makes a fold, and the under the gun player stacks out his chips very quickly and makes the call. So we're going to the turn with $162 in the pot. It's developing very nicely. The turn comes a 6 of hearts, which does not improve us at all, and the opponent who limped pre-flop decides his hand is good enough to go all in for $151. All in for $151. The pot is now $313. If you look at the solver that I went through, even with his best hand, which is like 10-9, I'm still 30% favorite to win. And if he has ace 8 of diamonds, I'm still 20% to win the pot by the river. And so I'm thinking about it, even with his best holdings. And of course, I'm not doing this math while I'm at the table, but I kind of have a sense for it. Even with his best holdings, I'm still getting pretty good odds to make this call. So I do decide to make the call. I'm looking for a king, a diamond, a queen, a jack. I have a lot of outs, but it doesn't come. The 8 of hearts comes. The opponent shows me a 7, which gives him the river straight, but he only had 10-7 offsuit. So this is a great opportunity to chase for a card on the river, try to win a big pot. I flip open my hand. It's not good. The dealer takes it and mucks it, and the pot is being shipped right next to us, not to us, maybe next time. I'm counting out my chips after that last little flesh wound. I'm still standing. I'm still ready to fight. And I look down at ace of spades, 8 of spades in the big blind. There's $4 in the pot, and the low jack opens to $10. It folds around. The big blind folds. The small blind folds. And I could 3-bet here if I had ace 5 suited, maybe if I had ace 10 suited. Those have straight draw possibilities. But with a suited ace, I'm just going to make the call and see what develops on the flop. I check in the dark. The flop comes 2 of hearts, 10 of diamonds, 7 of spades. And the original raiser decides to bet out $15, which I think I'm just going to float. I have some backdoor equity here with the spade draw and the straight draw. And then I get the ace of diamonds on the turn. I decide to continue with my checking line, and I check to the opponent. He thinks about it for a little while before deciding he's going to make a bet of $35. The problem with playing out of position against a pre-flop aggressor is that I have no information. His bet on the flop could be a complete continuation bet. And again, when the ace of diamonds comes, it's a great card to bet on, even if you don't have the ace. He has the position advantage, he has the range advantage, and he has the nut advantage in this situation. But I do have one pair, an ace, and that's top pair on the board. My kicker is not a worthy adversary to probably whatever kicker he was raising with. Seeing as I have a very short stack, I've already committed a large portion of it to this hand, and I hit my ace on the turn, which is the whole purpose of floating. I decide to go all in, $70 on top. Now, this all-in bet Would also, I think, be a good min raise if I have a lot more chips behind, just to take control of the pot, to get some fold equity, to put pressure on him if he was in fact betting with air. But he calls and we go to the river. It's a queen of hearts. I show my cards. There's $191 in the pot. I'd love to win this one. And when the opponent mucks, I feel great. I got some battling chips left, and I'm going to be battling. I have the amazing ability to get up with my short stack and then lose it back down and then get up again. I think it's because when I have a short stack, I play tight, I play right. When I have a larger stack, I gamble a little bit, like with that king, queen of diamonds hand. And then I have the potential to lose back to my starting stack, which is no good because I want to get deep stack. I want to play for big stacks. But alas, a whole orbit goes around and we're back in the big blind. And we look down at pocket tens, 10 of spades, 10 of diamonds in the big blind. It limps around to the cutoff, who raises it up to $12, and the small blind calls, I call, and the under the gun limper calls. I definitely could have 3-bet here and isolated, and I probably should have, but alas, I play this as a set in order to set mine, and we're going to flop 4 ways, $48 in the pot. I'm hoping for a low run out, or of course the spike at 10. Luckily, my middle pair is kind of an upper middle pair, and so I do have some playability on different flops, and this is one of them. Queen of clubs, 7 of spades, 2 of hearts. The small blind checks, I check, and the under the gun player checks. The player that raised originally checks as well. And we're going to the turn. The turn is the 7 of hearts. It's not the best card for me to see because middle pair now gets there. But when I see that small blind checks and the under the gun player checks, I also decide to check just to see where we're going with this hand. I don't want to inflate the pot too much. I could easily be beat. I probably should have applied a little bit of aggression, but alas, I didn't, and the river comes out a king of clubs. Now, the small blind is thinking a lot longer than he has before on this hand, and so I'm wondering if I'm good or not, but when the small blind decides to check, I decide maybe it's time I take control of this pot. I don't. Once again, I should play passively. I check, hoping to get to showdown, and it does get to showdown. I flip over my pocket tens, and the player in the small blind does show queen 6. This would have been the perfect opportunity for me to isolate bet. I would have won the pot. It's a lesson learned, and it's a lesson I'm going to take to the future. We have about $175 worth of chips, and this is the last hand of the night. I look down at ace 10 of diamonds in the small blind. I don't seem to be getting any hands in position, but when the middle position raises a 10, the cutoff calls, and the button makes the call, this is absolutely a time to 3-bet, and luckily I'm a good enough player that I have no problem making that good 3-bet here, even with the short stack. I have ace 10, likely the best hand at the table, 40, oh my gosh, Kato. You just call, you call with worse position? Players, don't do this, please don't do this, PokerBEAST. If you have the position, and I know I'm a little short stacked, but let's get it isolated. Heads up, let's play mano y mano. I can surely outplay these players, but no, 4 ways to the flop. We got to hit it, and we do slightly. 7 of diamonds, jack of diamonds, 4 of hearts. We pick up the nut flush draw. We have some backdoor draws to the straight. We have the ace overcard, and when it checks around to the cutoff, and the cutoff bets out for $22, I am definitely going to be making this call. I, again, could raise here, but we're just going to see what develops on the turn. Hopefully it's a diamond. And the player under the gun makes the call, and then the original raiser thinks about it and asks how much chips the cutoff has left, which kind of indicates to me that maybe he has a draw and he's trying to size up his equity. It's not necessarily a tell, but it could definitely be a tell. Maybe he's playing with diamonds as well. Regardless, he folds away. We're going 3 ways to the turn, $119 in the pot. The original raiser is out. The button, the cutoff has taken control of the pot, and the turn is the 2 of hearts, not the card I want to see. And of course, I am first act in the small blind. Terrible position to be in. This hand is getting away from me more and more. Hopefully he bets small, and he bets a marginal size, $32. He likes that $2 on the end. Now, it's $32 to win a $180 pot, plus the money he has behind, which isn't a lot. I do still have an ace that I can hit. I have a diamond for the nuts. I lost out on my backdoor straight draws, but I'm going to make the call for the small sizing, and hopefully the under the gun player does not go all in, but rather just calls to up my equity. Sure enough, he calls. The river comes out. Oh, the 2 of spades. Why can that board not run out well for me? Well, you know why, Yvonne? Because you didn't 3-bet pre-flop. You could definitely have taken this hand down. It checks around. I flip over my... I don't flip it over because Jack 9 of hearts is going to take it down. He turned the flush draw, and he had the top pair on the flop. It would have been hard to get him off that hand. I definitely could have raised and maybe had him fold out. That's the point of the 3-bet. Isolate, especially out of position. We look down at one more hand. We look down at Jack of Diamonds, Jack of Hearts in middle position. There is a straddle. I could raise here, and I probably should have once again, but I guess I'm not playing very aggressive this session. I decided to make the call with the hopes that someone bets, and I can re-raise all in with my shortest stack. When it limps around, I think that I'm out of luck until it gets back to the original straddler. We have almost a family pot with limps. The original straddler sees there's $50 in the pot, and he likes to go all in. This is exactly what I wanted, and there's absolutely no doubt in my mind I'm following him all in. I expect everyone else to fold, but we have another short stack to the left, and he elects to go all in as well. Luckily, he has only about $60, and so he could be doing this with a very wide range. And I'm going 3 ways to the flop, 3 ways to the turn, and 3 ways to the river. We are all in. The opponent that originally went all in shows pocket sixes, which is fantastic, and the player with the shortest stack does not show his hand. The flop comes out 3 of spades, ace of hearts, 2 of hearts, queen of spades on the turn, and the 3 of clubs on the river. The villain with the shortest stack flips over queen, jack, offsuit. He scoops the main pot. Luckily, I win the side pot, and we're going to get a little bit of profit out of this hand. I looked down at my stack, and it's almost exactly what it was when I started playing today. It's $158. I started with $150. I'm not playing well. I'm playing very passively, and it's costing me a lot of pots. It's costing me a lot of situations where I could be ahead, but I let people catch up. I let multiple players in the pot. I say, this is not my day. I'm going to cash out for a small win, keep the momentum going. A win is a win.
All right, I've checked like 4 floors of this parking garage, and I'm not finding my car. We wrapped up a session. In for 150, out for 158, a profit of $8, an in-and-out dinner. I can't complain. We'll mark it down as a winning session. I got up early, and I say this all the time. I probably should have left when I was up a few $100, but I stayed and I gambled, and I got my money in with some draws that didn't come to fruition. But all in all, I think I played an okay day. I probably should have just called the $20 against the aces instead of raising. I went ahead and folded that, although it did run out the hearts, which is, I looked it up, there's only a 5% chance of that happening, me beating those pocket aces on that board. So I can't complain about my fold, but I can complain about my raise. And then other than that, I didn't really get much hands after that initial boost, and then losing with the king queen, just enough to scrape back to my 158. And you live and you learn. I still got my money in my pocket, and tomorrow's another day. So we're wrapping this vlog up. Thanks for tuning in. If you like the channel, if you're enjoying the content, if you want to push me and encourage me to create more, please drop a subscription, please leave a like, and I always appreciate a comment. Thank you so much. Kato out. Till next time.